Hello and welcome to the channel. As always, like the video, and if you enjoyed the story, leave a comment on if you would want more. This fanfiction was not created by me, but in the description there is a link to the fanfic so you can show your support to the creator and read along. Without any more delay, let's dive into the story.
By giving your progression careful thought, your wisdom has grown by 1. Any way you look at it, today was a pretty good first day as a genin. Hopefully tomorrow will be even better. The Hyuga Hinata, type. The gamer, title. Heir of the Hyuga clan plus 10% more experience with Juken and Byakugan. Teacher. Kurenaya Genjutsu learning rates go up by 50%, and skills and intelligence go up by 1 per level. Level 8. 821,150 seconds experience to move up to the next level. HP. 32 200ths. CP 200 150 seconds. 5 for strength. 21 0.21 for dexterity. Speed 60.06. 10 for vitality. 10 for intelligence. 13 0.13 for wisdom. 1 for charisma. Present. If you're timid, you lose 20% of the reputation gain below friendly and 20% of the experience gain to Juken techniques. Plus 2 dexterity per level for joints that are flexible. Plus 50% express to asterisk skills and shuriken. Point. 0. Bonus. 1. Rio. 600. Hinata got out of bed, stretched her arms out, and felt awake and alert. Her muscles were sore and stiff from sparring yesterday, but after a good night's sleep, she felt like she was in great shape today. Since it was 6 a.m., she had an hour to kill before she had to meet her team at the mission registry office. She was ready for the day after taking a shower, changing, and eating. When Hinata walked into the mission office, she saw that her team was already there. In her heart, she hoped that today's mission would be a little more satisfying than yesterday's. Shino nodded his head to show that he knew she was there when Kiba said, "Morning Hinata," in his usual happy voice. Good morning Hinata, I am glad to see that all of you are here and I hope you are all not too tired after yesterday's events. Today we will be taking another D-rank mission today, hopefully we can get through more than one, said Kurenai. What the 3 new genin saw at the desk shocked them as they walked up to it. Kiba abruptly called out, "Baruka-sensei." "Hello Kurenai-san, Kiba-kun, Shino-kun, Hinata-san, I take it you are all here for a mission," Baruka said. The girl asked Baruka-sensei, what are you doing here?" Baruka replied with a small laugh, "The new students at the academy don't start for another 2 months, so I'm helping out in the mission office until then. I expect to see you all from time to time." The 3 genin nodded to show that they got it, but Hinata had a different question. Hinata tried not to blush as she asked, "Sensei, have you seen Naruto-kun yet?" "Yes Hinata, actually I had ramen with him last night as he was telling me about how he passed his sensei's test," Baruka said. Kurenai said, "Wow, Kakashi actually passed a team. I'm shocked. Why would that be strange, sensei?" Shino asked in a serious voice. Hitaki Kakashi is one of the best Junin Konoha has to offer, but he's a bit strange, Kurenai sighed. He is notorious for being late to everything, being a pervert and never passing a single genin team, so the fact he has done so now means he obviously saw something in the kids he got assigned, so if I were you 3 I would keep an eye out on that. She pointed out. Kibi bragged, "Hey, who cares? I bet they don't have anything on us." Yes, Kiba, now if we are done with boasting I think we should take a mission, Kurenai said. Kurenai went over to talk to Haruka, and Hinata could see them talking about what missions were open at the moment. Kurenai put the scroll away and said, "I think this one will do for now. Today our mission is to go to one of the farms on the east side of the village and help moving all the produce that has been collected from the field into one of the barns. I made a new quest. Helping the nearby farm is the quest. Prizes, 50 yen, 50 express, YN. As soon as Team 8 agreed to the quest, they crossed the village to meet the client at Musashi's farm. In his late 40s, Mr. Musashi was a man with dry, tanned skin and strong muscles from working every day in the fields. "Ah Shinobi-san, I am glad you could make it. Normally this is the type of work I would be doing myself, but lately my back has been playing up. I need this month's harvest put in the barn as quickly as you can, he said. Of course Musashi-san, my team and I will be more than happy to get this done for you, said Kurenai. They got a short nod from Mr. Musashi before he went back inside to do some work. Okay team, today's mission will be a lot more physically taxing than yesterday, but think of it as training, he said. The team replied, yes, sir. I saw that there were about 350 bags of vegetables that needed to be stored when I looked over at the pile. While Hinata almost wished she were alone, she couldn't use her inventory to get this done quickly because her team was with her. As it stood, she wasn't sure if she should tell her team because she didn't fully understand the power herself. She thought it would be best to keep it quiet for now. Okay Akamaru, I bet we can move more bags that both Shino and Hinata combined before the end of the mission, Kiba said. What the challenge is, Shono lets you store more bags than Kiba. Prizes, 50 Express, question mark, good name with Kiba, question mark, good name with Shino, failed, 50 Express, 100 reputation points with Kiba, YN. Challenges are not the same as regular quests. Other people can issue challenges, and they often have an effect on your reputation. Challenges can lead to stronger friendships or rivalries over time, depending on what was done during the challenge. Warning, may lead to eternal rivals. In contrast to some quests, which may be required, challenges are completely up to you. When the message came up, Hinata blinked to decide if she wanted to accept it. On the one hand, it could help her get closer to one of her teammates. On the other hand, if she failed, she would really be back to square one with Kiba. She chose to be brave and pressed, yes, to take on the challenge. She said, Kiba-san, I think Shino and I will be able to store more than you will. Hinata acted sure of herself. I concur. While individually you would most certainly prevail, together I believe Hinata-san and I will prove to be a formidable opposition, said Aburame with stoicism. Kiba smiled in a wild way and said to Akamaru, looks like we have competition, boy. The dog barked in response. Kiba said, this will be fun. On your marks, get set, and go. As he ran toward the pile, with Hinata and Shino following him. As Kurenai watched from afar, she couldn't help but laugh at her team's antics. Well, they're kids, and I guess this way we might actually get 2 jobs done before lunch, she told herself. Kiba rushed over and put a bag of vegetables on his shoulder before running off very quickly, which Hinata saw. When Hinata got to the pile, she grabbed one of the bags and was shocked by how heavy it was. Each one seemed to weigh about 30 kilograms. She could see that Shino was having an even harder time until a bunch of bugs came out of his body and stuck to the bag to help him out a bit. Hinata could see Kiba running back for another bag as she picked up the first one. What's wrong, guys? You enjoy eating my dust that much? He asked with a cocky grin, which made his 2 teammates work harder. As quickly as they could, Shino and Hinata ran into the farmhouse and put their bags down. They then went back to the pile to get another one. This pattern kept going for a few minutes longer, but Kiba was able to get 3 for every 2 that Shino and Hinata brought. It took 10 minutes for Hinata, Shino, and Kiba to stack 30 bags, 15 each. Kiba had done 45. A message popped up as Hinata dumped her 15th bag. Strength has grown by 1 because of constant physical effort. Hinata could feel her muscles getting stronger and stronger. When she went to get the next bag, it did feel a little easier to carry. Shano was starting to slow down a bit to her left. It wasn't enough to stop him from performing, but she could see that he was getting sweaty. Kibi still looked like she had a lot of energy. Hinata chose to speed up, so she grabbed another bag and went to the barn. As the genin did the same boring task over and over, time seemed to blend together. After 10 minutes, Shino had delivered 14 more bags, Hinata had delivered 18, and Kiba had delivered 45 again. It wasn't a big difference, but the gap was getting smaller, and Kiba looked a little tired from working so hard from the start. Hinata wasn't tired at all, even though she should have been. She thought it might be a benefit of her gamer's body skill. After carrying a few bags, Hinata got another message. Strength has grown by 1 because of constant physical effort. This time, it took 20 bags before her strength went up, and she could feel her muscles getting stronger again. As time went on, Kiba made it through another 40 bags, Hinata got stronger by making it through 25 bags, and Shino made it through 13. Shino looked like he was out of breath at this point, and Kiba was wet with sweat. After 10 minutes, Hinata had packed 30 bags and felt stronger again. She was almost twice as strong as she was before the mission, but she thought the points were only coming so fast because her stats were so low to begin with. At this point, Shino could only carry 10 bags, and Kiba had dropped to 35 bags, which was a huge drop. Hinata did the math and saw that Kiba would still win at this rate, so she had to try taking 2 bags at once. The weight was making Hinata's knees buckle as she tried to lift them. But she wasn't going to give up, so she sent a surge of chakra to her legs and forced herself up. A new skill was made possible by a special action. Level 1 of Chakra Flow. Users can improve their physical stats by sending chakra to their limbs. While being active rises 20% more strength, by 20% in agility. It cost 20p per minute for CP. With a sudden boost of strength, Hinata got back up and made her way to the barn. Her increased speed and strength made her only slightly slower than when she was carrying a child. Shino and Kiba had both stopped, and Inuzuka was looking at Hinata like she had grown a second head. She hadn't noticed them. When the boy finally got himself together, Hinata had made 3 trips in that time. It was getting close. After 10 minutes, Hinata had gathered 28 bags, Shino had gathered 6, and Kiba had gathered 8. That left 3 bags. The 2 boys were both sweaty and tired, but Hinata only had a light sheen of sweat on her face. She knew she would not have made it this far without her ability, and she was mentally more tired than physically. But she had been using chakra flow for so long that she was now completely out of chakra. Her legs felt like lead because of this because she was quite tired of chakra. When the 3 genin looked at each other, they saw that each of their friends was in the same bad shape, either physically or mentally worn out. At the start, Kiba ran as fast as he could because he knew he needed 2 bags to win. But Hinata and Shino were coming up behind him quickly. Kiba was much faster than his 2 teammates, even when he was tired. He got to the pile first and picked up 2 bags with his shoulders. Although Hinata was disappointed, she was proud of how well they did. But that sadness turned to shock when the boy who looked like a wild animal smiled while giving one of the bags to Hinata and the other to Shino. He then picked up the last bag himself. Hinata asked, "Hey Kiba-san, are you sure?" "I must agree Kiba-san, it is illogical to throw away a victory," Shino stated. With a cheeky grin, Kiba said, "This was the most fun I've had in a while, and it was a good competition. It was worth it to see little Hinata roid out and carry 2 bags." This made Hinata blush and hide under her coat. "But as I was running here I realized we're a team now, no more than that you 2 are part of the pack. I only pushed myself this hard because it was fun to do this with you guys, so 1 bag each, that's what I decided," he said with a firm nod. The face Kiba was making looked so serious that Hinata couldn't help but laugh. "Hey, don't laugh, I was trying to be all cool and stuff," Kiba said. Hinata said, "I'm sorry Kiba-kun, I thought you were really cool." "Oh, so I'm Kiba-kun now, well I guess that makes you Hinata-chan then," Kiba smiled. She blushed deeply and nodded her head. "I guess that makes you Shino-kun then," she said with a small smile, and the Aburame nodded. Later, she would swear she saw Shino's lips move, but Shino would strongly deny it. Team 8 finally put the last bags in the barn. Done with the challenge. Reward, 50 Express. I became friends with Inuzuka Kiba. Become friends with Aburame Shino. While Team 8 was leaving the barn, they saw Kurenai standing there with a knowing smile on her face. The 3 genin were embarrassed because they had forgotten all about her in their excitement. Hinata saw a message flash up that told her she had earned a new perk that she could check out later. It also reminded her that she still had 1 more perk point to spend. "Well, I don't think I have ever seen a group of genin take to AD rank so enthusiastically before," Kurenai said. "Oh, crap, I forgot that this was AD rank," Kiba said with a smirk. "First, the language. Second, you were the only one who could forget they were on a mission, Kiba," Kurenai said, shaking her head. "Hey, it's fine, we got the job done and in great time too," Kiba said. "Well, That's true. I didn't think you guys would finish in less than an hour, but that just means more D ranks, Kurenai said with a sly grin, making her 3 genin grunt. Kurenai said as he walked toward the main house. Anyway, let's let the client know that we're done. Oh, before I forget, how did you carry 2 bags for so long, Hinata-chan? Kiba asked, which caught the attention of Shino and Kurenai as well. She stuttered, I just channeled a constant stream of chakra to my limbs. She saw that everyone was looking at her. Kiba asked, how would that help? Actually, that was something I was going to teach you 3 in the coming weeks, but since it's been brought up, we will work on it after sparring today. Hinata, did anyone teach you that? Kurenai was curious. Hinata said, no sensei, it just came to me in the moment, which made Kurenai smile with pride. Well, what you just did is actually a technique we call chakra flow. By channeling a constant stream of chakra to your limbs, you can boost your speed and strength. The more proficient you are, the bigger the boost. Kiba said, wow, that's pretty cool. It is, but it consumes a fair amount of chakra in the beginning, which reminds me, Hinata, how are you feeling? Kurenai pointed out. A bit tired, sensei, mainly due to chakra exhaustion, but I have some soldier pills, so I will be fine. She looked happy. Teammate kept the peace until they got back to the client, who was surprised and glad they were done so quickly. Well, I am very impressed. I'll make sure to spread the word that teammate was very helpful, said the client. The quest is over. Prizes. 50 yen. 50 express. Thank you for the compliment. Right team back to the mission office for one more before lunch. After one more dull D rank of walking the dogs from the Inuzuka kennels, which made Kiba happy, they ate lunch and met back at their training field. Following this, teammate had another round of sparring with the same goals of beating Shino and Kiba emerging. When Hinata faced Shino, she remembered to use her Byakugan, which made his Mushi Bunshin insect clone less effective. Together with her chakra flow technique, she was able to control the Aburame and block most of his Tenketsu. However, she was disappointed that when she used 2 techniques that used a lot of chakra along with Shino's Kikaichu insects, she lost her chakra for the second time that day and couldn't get the victory. Kurenai-sensei told her to always be aware of her chakra reserves, especially since she knew she still had another opponent to face. He praised her for a huge improvement over yesterday's performance. Because of this, Kurenai decided that Hinata would not play in her second match against Kiba because she was too tired. Due to Shino's injuries from Hinata, Kiba was able to quickly beat him, which was the exact opposite of their last fight. Kurenai said this was a good idea because on missions you might not be in the best shape, but you might have to fight an enemy while you're not feeling your best. During the rest of the training time, Kurenai gave them a talk on how to manipulate chakra and use technique. Hinata learned something from the talk that he gave on the spot. Kurenai finally let them do the technique when Kiba started to pull out his hair from boredom. Hinata even talked her sensei into letting her join in. Because I used the move so much that day, my chakra flow went up a level. Hinata noticed that this skill took a long time to level up because she had to use up all of her reserves twice just to get 1 level up. Still, it was worth it because it gave her an extra 1% of strength and agility when she was active. It was time for teammate to break up after a hard training session, but not before they agreed to get back together on their only day off in 5 days for a team bonding session to celebrate their first week as genin. Hinata finally got to the Konoha Shinobi Library around 5:30. The library was 4 stories high and had a floor on the first floor with materials that genin could use. Tokubetsu Junin could get to the 3rd floor, and Chunin could get to the 2nd. The Junin section was on the 4th floor. For safety reasons, the library didn't have any books above the B rank. You could ask for those books at the Hokage Tower, where they would be looked over by a group of specially chosen Junin. Even though academy students weren't allowed inside, it was still a great place for a new genin to learn a lot. Hinata also wasn't allowed into the main library of her clan. This was probably done to avoid her because the elders of the clan thought her sister would make a better heir. Because of this, Hinata hadn't had the chance to learn any new techniques. As Hinata walked into the library, she showed the Chunin her shinobi ID. The Chunin smiled and let her in. While Hinata walked into the library, she couldn't help but smile. The musty smell hit her right away. There was a dusty, slightly musty smell coming from the scrolls on the shelf that she could smell. It was nice. There were 4 sections in the library on the genin floor. One had books on genjutsu, the other did ninjutsu, and the third had other skills. When Hinata went into the genin section of the library, she saw only a few people, and she knew one of them. In the skills section of the library, Hinata could clearly see Haruno Sakura's pink hair sitting next to a mountain of scrolls and taking notes quickly. As the girl looked like she was concentrating, Hinata moved to the far side of the section so as not to bother her. There were both books and scrolls in this section of the library, which was well put together. This section had information on everything from how to control chakras to how to fix plumbing problems. When shinobi were on assignment, they were often told to fit in, so learning a trade skill was always a good idea. Today, Hinata realized that her techniques were using up too much chakra. She needed to find a way to either make her chakra last longer or make her techniques less powerful. Another thing to keep in mind is that it would be smart to make a fitness plan instead of just going out and not getting enough out of it. She thought about asking Neji Ni-san sensei for help, but she knew that would make things worse. Hinata chose to get some books on chakra control and physical training. While she was there, she also saw some interesting looking books on making healing salves, since most medical books were in the chunin and above sections. When Hinata found a quiet place to read, she started to read. The books on chakra control were very interesting, and before she knew it, 2 hours had passed and she had received 2 alerts that her intelligence had grown. It looked like she could also improve her stats by studying. The book talked about chakra natures and shape manipulation, but only briefly. A thought that came to her was to ask someone the method to find out what kind of person she was. She saw a window appear when she reached for the next book on chakra control. Would you like to learn how to stick leaves together? YN. Hinata had never heard of this before, so she clicked yes, because it sounded interesting. As she did this, the book broke up into tiny bits of light that seemed to merge with her body. Skill books. If a person meets the requirements to learn a skill, they can start learning it right away at the basic level. You can only use skill books once. Leaf sticking is a new skill that was learned at level 1. Cut all techniques chakra costs by 5%. It costs 5p per minute. Hinata's eyes grew big as she looked at the information. She knew right away how to do the leaf sticking exercise. It was to prove this that she tore up a scrap of paper and watched as chakra made it stick to her forehead. It was amazing how quickly she had learned a new skill. If this worked for jutsu, she could grow even faster. It dawned on her that she had just damaged library property as the high wore off. There was a crime going on here, so Hinata turned pale. Luckily, no one else noticed because the room was so quiet and the genin section wasn't well guarded. After calming down, Hinata felt a little bad about what she had done, but what was done was done. Luckily, one of the library's shinobi could make a copy of a text for her own use for a fee, though it was a bit pricey. Hinata spent the next hour reading her remaining books and learning something new. During this time, another book told her she should learn how to make healing salve, but she didn't want to risk her luck. She also made her own training plan that she thought would help her improve while keeping her stats balanced until she decided what she wanted to get better at. After putting her books away, Hinata looked over at the stairs that led to the chunin section of the library. That's when she saw a new quest. I made a new quest. Goal: sneak into the chunin area. Reward: 2000 express. You can use chunin grade materials until you get caught or leave. Failed. Questioned at the department for interrogation and torture. Ninja license could be taken away. YN. When Hinata read the quest's requirements, she blinked and quickly pressed the "No" button to close the screen. The rewards were good, but the risk of failing was too high for her to think about. She also didn't care about the moral implications, which sounds very strange coming from a shinobi. Hinata went over to the chunin at the desk to ask how much it costs to make copies of books. This took her mind off the thought of being questioned. She was upset that each book would cost about 1500 ryo, which was way too much for her to pay. That meant she couldn't save up jutsu until she had more money, which was a shame. Still, Hinata thought as she walked home and checked her phone's status. It had been a good day. The Hyuga Hinata. Type. The gamer. Title. Heir of the Hyuga clan plus 10% more experience with Juken and Byakugan. Teacher. Kurenaya Genjutsu learning rates go up by 50%, and skills and intelligence go up by 1 per level. Level 8. 1080 1152 experience to move up to the next level. HP. 200 200ths. CP. 230 230ths. 9 for strength. 21 0.21 for dexterity. Speed. 60.06. 10 for vitality. 13 for intelligence. 13 0.13 for wisdom. 1 for charisma. Present. If you're timid, you lose 20% of the reputation gain below friendly and 20% of the experience gain to Juken techniques. Plus 2 dexterity per level for joints that are flexible. Question mark. Plus 50% express 2. Skills and jutsu. Point. 0. Bonus. 1. Rio. 700. It was weird to think that she had gotten so much stronger in such a short amount of time. She almost beat Shino, who was ranked second in their year at the academy. Soon, if she kept getting better at this rate, she might be able to win. The thought that she could get better so quickly scared her. The past few years had been hard for her. She really thought she was a failure because everyone else thought so. She didn't have any Byakugan, her Juken was terrible, and she didn't believe in herself. Hinata thought, well, at least I'm getting better at some of those things. She wanted to be a child again and run home to show her proud father her Byakugan, since he still thought she hadn't unlocked it. The logical part of her that had been tamed by years of being laughed at told her she shouldn't, but it would only look like the slow child finally getting to the starting line, not like she had accomplished anything. Oh no, she wouldn't tell anyone right now. She would wait for a time when she could make her dad proud. Hinata was thinking so hard that she didn't notice the person coming at her fast until it was too late. By that time, their bodies were a mess on the floor. The voice on top of her said, "Oof, well at least something soft stopped my fall." When Hinata realized someone was lying on top of her, it took her a moment to calm down. She first felt a lump in her chest and a mess of spiky blonde hair right next to her face. He asked, "Man, this feels soft. What are those balloons?" While this was going on, Hinata lost it. "Naruto, on top of me," she thought as her face turned red. Naruto yelled, "Aw crap," when he realized what he was holding on to. He then jumped into the air like a scared kitten. He put his hand over his face as if he were going to be hit and said, "Ah Hinata-chan, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to." The words, "En Naruto-kun," came out very slowly for Hinata. Naruto looked at Hinata through his hands and said, "It wasn't on purpose. I would never do that." He thought her confused and red face meant she was angry. I mean not that they weren't nice, I bet a lot of guys would want to do that. I'm just surprised they were that big, Naruto said. "Not that I'm a pervert or anything, it was totally an accident and a Hinata oi Hinata wake up," were the last words Hinata heard because she couldn't figure out what was going on around her. Hinata was slowly waking up after having the weirdest dream that Naruto had just pulled her close and felt her. This made her laugh in a sexual way. "Gigi, are you sure she doesn't need to go to the hospital? Her face was really red and she might have hit her head on the floor," Naruto asked. "Based on the story you just told me, I am slightly surprised you are not the one on the floor unconscious, Naruto-kun," said a senior. "Yay, no kidding Gigi, one time I accidentally brushed against Sakura-chan and she beat me into the floor," Naruto told me. "Yes, those of the fairer sex, for all their allure and mystery, can transform at the drop of a hat into terrifying creatures," said the elderly voice. "Even for you Gigi, but you're the Hokage, the strongest in the whole village, what do you have to be scared of?" pointed out Naruto. The Hokage, who had now been identified, laughed lightly. "Ah Naruto, my boy, after many years on this earth I have learned to fear above all others, and that is a woman's scorn." Naruto wailed, "Oh man, Hinata is going to beat the crap out of me." "Well, there are worse ways to go out. You got something out of it, didn't you?" the Hokage asked as he laughed at his young charge's shame. Hinata's face had been getting redder and redder the whole time they were talking, but she chose to sit up in shame at this point. After a moment, Hinata saw the Hokage laughing and Naruto's face lit up with fear. She couldn't do anything but look away from them and nervously press her fingers together. The Hokage told Naruto, "Okay, I think you owe Hinata an apology." He said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry Hinata-chan, I wasn't paying attention and knocked you down. I'm also sorry for that." He rubbed the back of his head in shame. "It's okay, Naruto-kun. I know it was an accident," she stuttered, her face red from remembering what she had done. He said with excitement, "To make it up to you, how about I buy you a bowl of ramen?" When the child did something silly, Hiruzen sighed and said, "Naruto-kun, not everyone loves ramen as much as you do." "What? But ramen is the best, it is the food of the gods," he said loudly. With a mean look, Hiruzen said, "Whether that's true or not, why don't you ask Hinata what she wants to eat?" Naruto smiled one of his few real smiles and asked Hinata-chan, "Oh yeah, what would you like?" She smiled and said, "Well, I could go for some ramen about now." Her mind was on it for a moment. His cry of, "Yes, Hinata-chan is the best," made the girl turn red again. With Uzumaki Naruto, reputation went up by 300. Hinata saw the Hokage smile and shake his head at her and her friend out of the corner of her eye. "Tell you what, Naruto-kun, why don't I join you? My treat, it's getting late now and I could do with some food," said Hiruzen. Naruto said with a cheer, "Really, Gigi, that's great. Thank you for being kind, Hokage-sama," Hinata said with a bow. "Don't worry about it, kids. Let's go get some food now," Hiruzen told them as he grabbed both of their shoulders and vanished in a cloud of leaves. A bowl of miso ramen was being eaten by Hinata at the bar in Ichiraku Ramen. It wasn't quite as good as cinnamon bun, but it was close. There was pork ramen being eaten by Naruto and beef ramen being eaten by the Hokage. Naruto slurped down more ramen and asked, "Hey Gigi, what was that swirly move you used to get us here?" Kakashi-sensei did the same thing to us on the test. That Naruto is the Shunshin no Jutsu body flicker technique, a D-rank technique used for short-distance instantaneous movement. Hiruzen told us. Naruto begged Gigi, "Wow, that's cool. Will you teach me?" "Well, I don't have time to teach you," Hiruzen said after seeing Naruto's disappointed face. He seemed to think about it for a moment. "But I can give you a scroll so you can learn yourself. Think of it as a reward for passing your genin test. You may have one as well if you like Hinata," said Hiruzen. "Thank you Hokage-sama. Thanks Gigi." When they picked up the scroll tomorrow, they got a kick-ass new jutsu, which made them happy. The three of them then went back to eating. Soon after, they were both done, but Hinata thought the Hokage could answer a question she had. Hokage-sama, Hinata said slowly. Hiruzen said with a raised eyebrow, "Yes, Hinata." She began, "I was in the library earlier today." Hiruzen looked at Naruto with a critical eye and said, "A great way to spend your time. And I was reading a book on chakra control and it mentioned chakra natures. Do you know how I would find out my chakra nature?" Hinata asked me. The Naruto asked Gigi, "Hey, what is a chakra nature?" A chakra nature, Naruto, is which direction your chakra is naturally aligned to. Now can you tell me the 5 main chakra natures? Kaden fire release, Futon wind release, Raiden lightning release, Uma. Naruto stumbled around. Suiden water release and Doden earth release was the last word Hinata said. Hiru said, "Very good, both of you. Yes, a person's chakra will always be aligned to one of these main elements. What this means is that they will have a type of jutsu that is easier to master than others. For example, if you had an affinity for fire, you could learn Kaden jutsu more easily. However, you would find Suiden jutsu more difficult to learn." Hiruzen told me, "Hey, that must be how Sasuke Tem can throw around loads of fireballs so easily," Naruto thought. Naruto asked Gigi, "Hey, how do you find out your chakra nature?" "Well, those with a very high level of chakra control can use a simple leaf, but for others chakra paper is the better option." Hinata asked, "Chakra paper?" "Yes, chakra paper is a special chakra-sensitive material made from special trees only found in Konoha and is one of our main exports. By channeling a small amount of chakra into the paper, one can learn their elemental affinity. If the paper burns, it is Kaden. If it crumbles, it is Doden. If it scrunches up and crinkles, Raiden, becomes wet Sweden, and finally if it tears, Futon. Hiruzen told us. Hikage, where can we get some chakra paper? That's what Hinata asked. Well, I happen to have 2 pieces on me right now, so if you'd like, we could find out now, Hiruzen said, and the kids enthusiastically nodded. She was given a square piece of paper and looked at it with interest. At the same time, she heard a loud ripping sound to her side. The Naruto asked Gigi, "Hey, does that mean I have a wind affinity?" Naruto gave Hiruzen a mean look as he said, "Yes, Naruto, it does, and it's a very strong wind affinity at that. Futon is naturally strong against Raiden but weak against Kaden. Man is weak to fire," Naruto said. Now none of that, Naruto. While it may be weak to fire, wind is often considered the most offensive element, some even going as far as to call it the battle element, he said. Unfortunately, in the land of fire we have few futon masters and only 2 I can think of in Konoha, Hiruzen said. Naruto jumped right up in front of the Hokage and asked, "Hey Gigi, would you please introduce me?" His eyes were sparkling. Naruto-kun, relax, I'm not sure that is a good idea at the moment. Most shinobi don't begin elemental manipulation until they reach the rank of Chunin, but if you prove to me you are ready, I will put in a recommendation in the coming months, deal? Hiruzen said. Naruto smiled and said, "Okay, Gigi. Hey Hinata-chan, your turn. I bet you have a kick-ass element too," Naruto smiled. She nodded her head and looked at the piece of paper. She sent a steady flow of chakra into it and waited patiently for a response. After a short time of nothing happening, she sped things up. After a short while more, she let a flood of chakra flow into the paper, turning it blue and making a bead of sweat run down her forehead. After a moment, she let out a gasp of exhaustion and a confused look, but the paper was already gone. Naruto said, "Stupid thing's broken," as he tested it by pushing his chakra into it and making it rip again. "What?" Naruto asked, confused. He didn't notice the strange look Hiruzen gave Hinata. Hiruzen said to himself, "That's strange." Hinata said, Hokage-sama, what does that mean?" I can't say I have ever encountered this before. It may mean that you are no more inclined for one element than any other. Perhaps you are incapable of elemental manipulation, or it could mean something entirely different. Intriguing, Hiruzen thought about. Don't let it discourage you, however. For now we will monitor the situation and see how it progresses, Hiruzen said. Yes, Hokage-sama. After saying good night to them both, Hinata began her walk home. She had a lot on her mind. It was strange that the chakra paper didn't respond to her chakra. This made a lot of people pay attention to her. Because of her strange reaction to the chakra paper, she was a little afraid that her power would be found out, but all she could do for now was wait. Even though she planned to tell everyone eventually, she would have liked to keep it a secret for now so she could surprise the people who spoke badly about her and wouldn't talk to her. She was also afraid of what people would do if they found out that Konoha had another powerful bloodline that was even scarier than the Byakugan. This was because Kumo almost took her hostage. Hinata wanted to do what her Nara classmate did and say that the situation was bothersome so she could take a nap, but she couldn't. Thought about her situation, Hinata's mind went back to something that might help her. She called out, "Perks," and a new screen came up. Right now, perks. Asuka gone. Teammate. Friendship. Your stats went up by 10% when you worked together with Teammate. Offers and perks. Earth and Water Chakra, 1 point. Chakra Spirit Wind, 1 point. Animal Fire Chakra, 1 point. Earth's Chakra, 1 point. Lightning in the Chakrasa, 1 point. Black Widow. Deals 25% more damage to people of the opposite sex. This is worth 1 point. Educated. 1 extra point for every level, 1 point. Explorer. Can show a minimap and advanced Huda, 1 point. Extra 10 CP per level for the Chakra Battery, 1 point. Vitality gives you an extra 10 HP per level for 1 point. When Hinata looked at her perks screen, she thought that maybe the chakra paper didn't work because she hadn't bought a nature yet, but it would when she did. This made her think more. She knew she had 1 extra perk point. At level 10, she would get another 1. Being almost level 9, it wasn't impossible that she would get the extra perk soon. It was a long day for her, no matter what. She would think about it more in the morning.
Thank you all for watching. The like goal of this video is 30 for a part 4. If these kinds of videos are your thing, then make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out. I hope that everyone listening has a wonderful rest of their day. Bye-bye for now and see you soon.